Welcome to the Wander Creative Podcast, your guide to digital marketing. Journey with us as we navigate organic social strategies, discover the latest in paid advertising, and explore current trends in content creation. Your weekly roadmap to figuring out the ever-changing digital world starts now.
Welcome to the Wander Creative Podcast. My name is Dan Russo. I am your host for today. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing here at Wander Creative. Season 2, guys. I'm joined here by Franklin and Michelle. Franklin's our PM here at Wander, and Michelle is our email marketer extraordinaire. Welcome, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Excited to have you guys on. So, today we'll be talking about email marketing, and we'll be talking about, is it dead? It's been around forever, and we'll figure out if it's going anywhere. So run us down with just a brief little email history, email marketing history, all that good stuff.
Sure, I can go ahead and start.
Yeah, let's go.
I did looking up a few things. It started, the concept of it started in the 1960s, so even before the internet.
Oh, wow.
And
Whoa.
then, yeah.
Weird.
So just like electronic messages over, not that predated the internet, just something I think MIT came up with it originally. The use of the @ symbol started in the 70s, and that has stuck around ever since.
I mean, yeah, it's still here.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it's just kind of kept improving over the years.
Sure.
And then, I mean, obviously some hiccups here and there, like with security things, with like phishing and other spam emails, things like that. But
Well, actually, now that you say that, it's so strange that the social handles kind of stole the email @
Oh, yeah.
Like, I never thought about
Yeah.
that.
oh yeah, it really did.
Like
Yeah.
almost more
'Cause-
relevant now.
The
Yeah,
@
true.
Yeah.
honestly, the @ is used in almost
Everything.
everything.
I mean,
Yeah, really, I can't.
X, Meta, TikTok. I
Yeah.
think TikTok, right? Maybe
Yeah,
not. It's TikTok
yeah.
as well?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
Facebook might be the only one that doesn't use it. Is that? or
Yeah,
does it use
Facebook
it?
might
Yeah.
not. I know Instagram does, but that's interesting.
It's-
Okay.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought that was wild that it's that far back
Yeah.
it started, because I
Yeah.
didn't really think. You don't really think about the
Oh,
@
for
symbol
sure.
until you start realizing.
I think
oh, wait, it's
90s.
everywhere.
You know, I think 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the internet, I think, was first like early 90s.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really cool, actually, because, I mean, we wrote down some of these questions that, I'd be asking y'all, and I was like, history of email, is that a super lame way to start off a digital marketing podcast? But I'm glad that we asked that, because with that context now of it's been around since, the concept at least, since the 70s, or the @ sign or whatever.
The @ sign in the 70s, the concept of it kind
Earlier.
of in the 60s.
That's
It's weird.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Is Morse code technically the first email? I don't know. Electronic message.
Yeah, since it's an electronic message, maybe that's why
Come
it's
on.
60s with yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we're, with that being said, it's been around for so long. Surely we have to think maybe we're coming up on the end of its life cycle. We will answer that and talk a little bit more. But, at Wander Creative, a big element of our marketing strategies is email marketing, text marketing. Today, we're just kind of talking about email, but kind of walk us through a little bit. I know, Franklin, you have your hand a lot in the project management side, so you really do deal with the client saying, hey, this is what we want. We want this kind of email campaign or whatever. And then you faithfully pass it on to Michelle so that we can kind of tackle this, and Michelle jumps on it and kills it every time. But walk us through, both of you guys, a little bit about what you've seen are some core elements in a successful email campaign.
Sure. Do you want to?
Sure, I'll talk about it. I think obviously the first thing is building your audience. So you got to have someone that you're talking to.
Yeah.
So I
You have
think
to email somebody.
Yeah, there needs to be someone receiving the message. So I think that's really important. And then I think more than ever now, having really personalized content and just like visually appealing content is super important. And I think just making an attractive offer that is relevant to your business and to the people who you're reaching out to is also really important. Like a really clear call to action on, what you're offering.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, and kind of going off script as is the norm and the tradition for our podcast. But you said visually appealing, and something that stands out, and I like that you said that, because can you kind of walk us through a little bit, like, it can be really easy for emails to be loud. We're spoken to in a million different ways every single day. How do you make something visually appealing, and how do you definitely stay, if it's a email blast, it can be so easy for people to think spam.
Yeah.
So how do you visually design something to where people go, you know, that's not spam, I'm actually engaged and interested?
That kind of goes, because I put it in 3 different categories, which, Michelle, you've already touched a few of them. But I did good content, which is copy, creative. I put those 2. So the appealing part. One thing that and I also did timing. So knowing when to send it, how early to prep, things like that. And then the last one that I thought was the most important is incentive. So like, why are you clicking on this? What's making somebody actually click through the links on these emails? And I think that's part of the being creative part, giving them a reason to. So one thing might be like opening it up. You see, oh, I actually want to look into what this is, kind of thing. So I think that's a big part of why. Or
I think another thing with email marketing, which is something that is why it's still great, is that these are people who have chosen to subscribe to follow you. So it's really like inbound marketing. And honestly, if you are, email is just one channel, but if like for your overall brand, you're really cultivating like who you are, and you're keeping your customer excited and they feel like they know you, then I feel like they also won't think you're spam if you're doing a good overall job of, you know, I don't know, just.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because you, like you said, you subscribe to these things. I mean, like you subscribe to social media, but the algorithm puts things that you haven't actually subscribed to.
Yeah, they also add in ads.
Not cluttered, but can almost feel like I'm seeing things that might be interesting, but you didn't actually subscribe or follow that, which is a.
But I think also you have to be thoughtful about like your subject. Like you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to sound like spam. So it's, you know, it's really important to make sure you have like a good subject line. And then, I mean, I think once you get someone to click and open the email, you're probably less concerned about the spam aspect at that point. But I think the good graphics is what like keeps someone, you know, like I'm going to read through this email. I'm going to make it to the call to action.
Yeah. I think a bunch of flashing red things that say click now will really help. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Something you also said that I loved was about building the audience and the importance of that. And we actually touched on this in the last season of our podcast, but we had talked about acquisition and how do you get those leads? How do you get email leads? And that's something that's been very difficult, because in that episode, we even talked about like, it's something that people hold so valuably, right? With a lot of value.
It's of high value.
It is of high value to them.
I know what you meant.
Made up that word. And so, but it's true. I mean, that's something that's very personal to them that they're having to give up.
Yeah.
And so we've found that it's like, it's very hard to ask for an email if you do not give them something.
Oh, yeah.
And the example I used was, it's like the sleeping person in the movie holding like an object, and you have to like replace it with a lamp or something while they're sleeping so they don't like wake up. And it's like, what are you replacing to get their email from them?
Yeah.
Granted, it's obviously they are giving up their email on their own, so it's not like you're stealing it from them. But yeah, what can you offer to get that email so that you can build that list? Whether that's an offer, 15% off, free downloadable PDF,
valuable
peek,
content,
sneak peek to my song, whatever that is.
Yep. Early access.
Yeah, 100%. Anything that can really, I mean,
like
if you
what's
can
in it
have
for me?
A great ask.
Yeah.
Because I'm having to give you something that's very personal to me, and I am spammed all the time on my emails. So getting more emails, will cost you.
Yes.
So I love that you said that about building your list. Is there anything else? Any other kind of core elements to an email campaign?
I had touched on the timing part of it, like knowing when, because sometimes for personally, like usually it's the end of the day that I go through my emails, clear them out.
Okay.
But like sometimes it'll pop up if I just happen to have it open, or just seeing when I'm going through, seeing something pop up. It's like, oh wait, I actually needed something. I needed this product, or like, oh, I'm at this point in time, I'm interested.
Right.
So timing in part of the day and timing in just general life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
having that strategy is super important.
Yeah.
And reminding,
Yeah.
not being afraid to send the information more than once. Because what if someone does miss
Yeah.
one email and they would really be interested?
And-
So,
Totally.
yeah.
Part of the project management side of me is like the timing of the actual building of the
Totally.
emailing campaign. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you
Totally.
have more lead time, probably going to be a better looking
Yeah.
and more thought out email. So
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of let's go into that a little bit too. I mean, with you guys send so many campaigns, and we really do work on a lot of those. For the average listener who's saying, you know, I'm trying to get into email marketing, kind of briefly run through like what's an easy access. If they don't have a list, we can talk. You can if you don't have a list, you can listen to our other episodes on marketing and how to build those lists out. But what are some tools you can use to start email marketing? And then a second question is, are there times that you guys have seen in the day? Franklin, you had touched on like you go through your emails at night. Are there times that are best in the day that we can offer to the listeners saying, generally this, or are you guys like, no, it kind of changes based on the industry?
I think that for timing, we do go for, there's like a couple times during the day. For us, a lot of times we send things at like 10 or 11, we're Central Time, or sometimes in the afternoon, like 3 or 4.
Okay. So before the end of the workday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I think that's also a time the average person might be starting to wind down on their workday.
Sure.
Might be, so that's when they might check things like that. So
Yeah.
it's
Or if
not a
you-
bad timing.
Yeah. Or if you're like a lunchtime,
Yeah.
you're on your lunch break,
Yeah.
then like if you have already emailed people before lunch, they can
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, and I think it does. I think that's really good. And I know that even with us, it does vary too on like, we had a brand that kind of spoke to like women kind of in the middle-aged area and moms and mothers.
Yeah.
And so we said like, all right, like we found like the equivalent of nap times or when they were checking their
Yeah.
emails and stuff like that. So all good things to kind of keep in mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, we've talked a little bit about, things that they can do to get off the ground a little bit. Was there a specific tool they could use that would make that kind of easy?
I know just general gathering emails through social media or other marketing strategies. I know there's one thing that we've started to use a little bit called ManyChat, which is more automated chat that can gather emails through social media and other things. But yeah, it's gathering them through email it's more of that's just to the who's already subscribed or who you've already captured. So
That's
you guys
great.
might be able to speak more on on the best way to do that. But
Well, I mean, like, are there any email marketing tools that they can use to send out e-blasts if they haven't even gotten
Oh.
in?
okay.
Oh yeah. For sure. Like Emma,
Yeah.
MailChimp,
Yeah.
HubSpot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I mean, we've touched on the fact that email marketing's been around for so long. Really, it's been around forever, and we're starting to kind of unpack that we're still heavily using it. That it's still a vital aspect of marketing.
Yeah.
But how does it differ from what it's been? Have you guys seen it trending in different ways? Does it? I mean, social media is trending and just flying. Do we see the same thing with email? Is it a little bit more consistent in its trends and the things, the ways in which we market through it?
I think that email is like not as cool as social media. Like you said, we're kind of in a really like social media world right now.
Sure.
But I think if you look at the actual impact, it's still super, super important because pretty much everyone has at least one active email address. So that's like, I think I read it was like 4 billion email users in the world. So, I mean, it's definitely a super important access point to get to your audience. But I think how it's changed would be like the mobile optimization. Most people are now checking their emails on their phone or their tablet. And so I would say, I think like original like e-blasts started in like the late 90s, but then everyone was on a computer.
Yeah.
So there has had to be, changes and what that looks like. If you don't have your email set up for mobile optimization, people are probably not going to be reading them as much because they're not going to translate into the medium that they're viewing them. So I think that's super important, the user experience and
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you said is so true. So would you recommend almost starting from a mobile side of like design and prioritizing that and then saying, let's make sure it also crosses over to desktop? Is that kind of where we're at?
Yeah, I think that's important when you're building a website or when you're picking just like how you will be sending your emails, like what source you'll be using. I would just say make sure whatever you're building off of is optimized for mobile, which I think most are now because of the times, but some still aren't. So I think it's a really important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know we do that even from the digital ads side, that like obviously we make sure it's optimized across the board, but we almost start with, okay, you want to get a campaign running. Do you have vertical video? Do you have do you have the stuff that will perform on the platforms that most people
capturing content in the right
So
the right size.
It does seem like the future is leaning towards
the vertical
the vertical mobile format, like you said, websites, all that stuff is prioritizing. And there's some crazy stats out there on mobile usage compared to desktop now, and we spend hours on our phone every single day.
It wouldn't surprise me if the numbers were more people had just a cell phone versus having an actual their own personal computer.
Sure.
Or like a tablet, like an iPad.
Sure.
I think another thing is that people have changed. The world has changed. And so like I know for a lot of like millennials, like our generation and some of us like Gen Z, like the social impact piece is really big. And again, the good design, because of social media, we're seeing so much good design. So I think that it's still really important for email to have those same elements and just know what is important to the customer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, when we were talking about people using cell phones versus desktops, I just was thrown back to when we had home phones. Like everyone had a home phone.
My parents still have one.
Do they have a home? Does it have a cord?
One of them might. They have.
I need the cord, man.
I mean, the curly cord.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, that gets tangled on everything.
The ones that across the house.
But then they would stay stretched sometimes, like when they were really used.
Yes, like stretched out. My kids don't even know. I'm like, you guys, this is a phone.
Well, what's
like
interesting
we watch an old
is
movie.
The phone icon on like an iPhone is still the old school handle phone.
Oh, interesting.
And that's interesting to me. It's like kids don't even know what that
Yeah, it's like
shape
what
is.
This weird
what
shape.
is this?
And if you tell little kids to like pretend they have a phone, they'd hold this. Instead of this.
Oh, that's true. Like the hand motion.
Yeah.
Mine just do like everything's a FaceTime. I'm like, no, you put it up to your ear.
Oh man.
This is not what the audience thought they were going to be listening into,
Sorry,
but
we're veering off.
it's what we need. So I mean, just kind of, I know we only have a couple more minutes, but couple last questions. I mean, where do you guys see the future of email marketing? Michelle, I know that you had mentioned definitely going mobile. And I think that's a great word, but where else kind of do we see that future landing?
I think the mobile thing is a huge deal just because of how more accessible the emails are through your phone. I think email marketing might have taken a dip a little bit when the whole like spam emails and all that stuff. But from what I've seen and from some of the research I did, the security part is getting so much better now. Cool. So that's so you're still going to get the spam and phishing and all that stuff, but you're probably still going to the majority of your inbox is still going to be something that you subscribed to. So it's still a more effective like direct marketing to the people you know are going to be more engaged to your content or more interested in your product, that kind of thing. So
I mean, I know we're like right on the beginning of this, but I think that we use automation and emails, but I think AI is going to be a big thing in the future. I mean, for better or worse, if you're the person writing the emails, I was going to say,
do you think it'll stop kind of with the writing, or do you also anticipate it taking over kind of the creative side of email?
I mean, maybe I'm an idealist, but I feel like the human creative aspect can't really be I don't know.
Spoken like a true email marketer.
Doubled
Yeah.
into AI. But I mean, the
Yeah.
writing could absolutely
sure.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to think that you can fully trust AI. I think the human element
Well,
is such an important thing, but
yeah,
I think especially as in its current state, you can't.
Yeah, I was going to
trust the
say,
AI.
certainly in the editing side, you
Yeah.
need to.
But I think it's a tool for
Yeah.
efficiency
Oh,
that
yeah.
people
Totally.
will start to. I mean, I think there definitely needs to still be a human involved, but I
Yes.
think that it will make the process even
Yeah.
more efficient. Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
email marketers have the ability to write good copy for an email.
For
But
sure.
Yeah.
AI does just kind of speed up that process. You still have to go back and edit it.
Yep.
Totally.
And make sure it fits your brand
Yeah.
and everything. But
Yeah.
it's a useful tool to just kind of speed up the process.
I feel like while talking about email marketing, I would not be doing it justice if we did not bring up the good old unsubscribe.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
I don't know about y'all,
Yep.
but I feel like every time I unsubscribe, it subscribes me to like 3 more lists I did not. You know, I swear.
It's like, are you sure you want to unsubscribe?
I unsubscribe every single day to so many.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, I'm glad that that was like a law they made
That's
back
true.
in like the early 2000s.
you have to put
Yeah.
that on your. Yep.
I think it's important.
And a lot of email apps now on your phone at least will recognize when it's from a brand, and there actually will be like a button at the top now too, where it's
Oh,
like you can
yeah.
unsubscribe from these.
Yeah.
Do not unsubscribe from a Wander.
Yeah,
email
not
list.
us.
No. In fact, tell your friends about it. But so I kind of have to ask: is email marketing dead?
I'm going to immediately say it is not dead.
We love to see
I
it.
have to agree.
It's not
I think
dead.
it's still very relevant. Even with the unsubscribe options, you can leave things, but
Yeah.
you also have the ability to keep up with all the brands and things that you want to keep up with, especially for sales aspects. Like, hey, like I clicked through an email the other day just trying because I was like, oh yeah, this product's on sale. I was interested in this, and I wanted to wait for a sale. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
I also use it all the time for the notify me when this thing is available.
Oh
yeah. Oh, me too.
I use that
Yep.
nonstop,
Sign
and
up
I'm
for
signing up for email lists galore. But
Yes.
tell me when it's available. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we haven't really talked about this, but I think it's important when we're talking about is email marketing dead? And I said no. Like I mentioned, I think most people have at least one active email address. But I think also for businesses, it is one of the lowest cost options. Like you get the greatest return on your investment. It's because of the like stability and the control and the automation. It's not like, I know social is super popular and it's awesome, but you can't get the same, like you get way more stability in email. The cost, and even like the cost of your time, it's a lot less time that you need to spend. And so I think if people are checking their like numbers and really recognizing that, they'll see that like, even though it's not as flashy or as popular, it's like, I don't know, the breadwinner.
Yeah. I love it.
I mean, I feel like there's a reason that you still need an email to sign up for almost every single service out there.
Yes.
Social media, just a general
Yeah.
account on any sort of website, you
Right.
still have to have an email. So
Yeah.
I think that fact alone keeps making
Well,
it stay relevant.
To that exact point, I mean, we need email. And it's not like, well, you know, things are coming out. We don't really use email anymore. It's like, no, we all use it, whether it's for work, whether it's for
Yep.
personal. And so we might not be sending emails to each other quite like we used to when that was like really a main form of communication.
Yeah.
But we're definitely using it to still communicate with brands
Yeah.
and communicate for work and communicate in a lot of different ways.
And I want to say, like, social media is awesome for marketing, but you don't own it. So, you know,
It's true.
you own your website and your email is not going to get shut down.
Right.
You know, that's a way, like, if something happens with socials, you have contact information for your
Right.
customers if you have an email list. So I think that's
That's great.
it's important.
So you've heard it here. It's not dead, but it is
not
changing,
dead.
and it's important to keep up with. So thank you guys so much for coming on the pod. And
Thanks for having us.
thank you guys for listening as well, those who are listening to this from the car, from home, from the gym, wherever you guys are. Tune back in. We'll be back next week with another episode. And
Awesome.
yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the Wanda Creative Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you missed any of the highlights, don't worry. You can get all of the show notes at wandercreative.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for the Digital Drop to get new episode alerts and also receive the latest digital marketing news, tips, and tools delivered straight to your inbox. Until next time.